Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome to a video here today with the latest Berserk release. And I'm not even going to try and say her name. Anyway, in Japanese it is Shieruke. Yeah, so the magic witch from Berserk. So I haven't actually seen anime, I've only read the manga after picking up these figures from my mate, and I just fell in love with them myself, read the series, enjoyed it. So if you're not too familiar with this character, she comes into the series later on, and she's kind of like one of the support characters. Really cool. I'm presently surprised with the articulation for this release, so I can't wait to show that to you all. She comes with some cool accessories as well, especially one for the previous Berserker guts as well, so we can attach that and check that out as well. So anyway, let's pop it out of the box so we can actually see what she does come with. Okay, so we have Shieruke here in the center, along with her staff, her hat, one of the little bit golems, and her astral form. So again, if you're not too familiar, basically, since she's a mage or a witch, she can actually traverse into the astral spirit realm, and that's the form that she takes when she's there. She uses it to support guts, kind of attaches to them. And yeah, we can achieve that by using a magnet, which is pretty cool. So we'll attach that to guts a little bit later to check out what it looks like on him. We also get 3 additional face plates, got a mouth open, kind of a little bit blushing one, but concentrating one when she's doing her magic, her satchel, and 3 pairs of hands, as well as the cloth cape on the back, which is really cool. And just like the other Berserk figures, the inside of the box has nice printing, has a little bit else on there, so that is a nice little touch for this character. But anyway, let's pop it out, chuck it on the turntable so we can have a look at the overall finish for this release. Okay, so I've got her swinging around. Due to the brim of the hat and her cape, I have got this additional light just to give a little bit more underlight there to get rid of the shadows. So if it looks a little bit too bright, I do apologize. But anyway, the purple on this figure is lovely. The detailing, the sculpting of the hat, little bit ruffles is cool. The staff looks nice. It's a little bit more delicate compared to some other figures, so it is very thin, so do be careful there. The golem is super cute, nice sculpting and detailing on him as well, and even on her boots. Satchel is nice, easy to put on, just pop the head on and solder on. Same with her cape as well. Now, I will say this, that the cape doesn't look as nice as ones with guts or Griffith. And I believe, that is partly due to the material and scaling. She's a smaller figure, so this also needs to be smaller as well. And this is where we run into issues with scaling. Fabric, especially in water, they don't scale down as well as other materials. So the stitch on this one sticks out a little bit. So that's the downside. But it is pretty good though. It does pose well. You can get some nice motion in there, kind of flapping around her body as well, which is cool. It's just that the underside of it isn't the nicest, so that is a bit of a downside there so far for this release. But yeah, besides that, I think it's physically speaking looks really cool. I think compared to a couple of other recent magic users I've picked up recently from Freerun, I'll show those a little bit later compared to her as well. I think she is one of the better female magic user figures that I have seen. So oh, that reminds me, we also have a little bit ghosty version or actual version, which is pretty cool. Lots of detailing in there. The nice swishes in her clothing is nice, and the little bit swirly bit of hair as well is pretty cool. So yeah, as you can see when I move it over the light, it's kind of translucent, which is nice. So I think it looked really cool in some photos, especially with some lights directed onto it. So moving over to the articulation, and before we do that, let's take the hat off. Look at that, just like a normal hat. This is one thing that I love. Normally you need to change off part of the head, attach something to the hat and then attach it to the body. It's just a bit of a pain, but this is beautifully sculpted and molded just to slot over her hair. So it is really nice and easy to switch on and off, and it looks so good as well. But anyway, let's move that off to the side so we can check out the articulation starting from the head going down. And I will also pop the cape off, just so we can easily see the body. But as you can see, you can scratch out the cape easily, move it around and float around to the body without too much issue, which is good. So coming back to the articulation with the head, going forward a few mil, going up it's not too bad but limited, but we get some side angle motion, can swivel around without any real issue as well. There we go. Going forward, when combined with the neck and upper torso, we do get a bit more range, which is cool. Now the shoulder joints here, super nice and fluid, moves around without any real issue, and she can reach around as well if you line up the pegs correctly, like so. The elbow joint is nice, especially considering the giant flare, so looking really good with a double joint. The wrist peg is nice and fluid as well. We do get the upper bicep swivel on the shoulder joint there, so we do get extra motion, which is good. Now the sexual just floats around, and again, to put this on and off, just pop the head off and you can slot it over her neck joint. Now the torso here, this is what really surprised me. Crazy good articulation there, especially for such a small body. If you want to see, there's a peg in there, so if you push too far it might pop off like so, but just pop it back on, it's all good. So yeah, going back, decent range of motion there as well, and then she can obviously twist diagonally and swivel around, so really good mid-torso range of motion. I was pleasantly surprised about that. The lower skirt is super soft rubber, and it is blown each side, so it will move out of the way as well. Again, she can basically do a split, so great range of motion there. A little bit fiddly. Yeah, going forward and back, extremely good leg motion. It's just obviously a shame that with these types of characters, these skirts do limit them though, since it doesn't really fold well. Maybe this could have been nice to have a cloth version as well. But yeah, I don't know, I'm still torn. Not really a big fan of cloth items on characters, but could have been good for her at least, because crazy good articulation on the legs there. And then again with the ankle, basic peg there, which moves really nice, really good detail. We don't get much roll pivot though, which is a little bit of a shame, but at least for tilt action on it is good, and we do get a little bit toe tip point articulation as well, which is very tiny, and there we go. So if needed, we can get that extra point of articulation if required. So moving over to the faces, I love the detail in the eyes. It's definitely capturing the essence of the character from the manga. You know, that really subtle blushing one. I imagine her like looking at guts and admiration with that. The eyes closed for doing like the magic spells, or you know, when she's in the spirit form, and the kind of yelling one as well. I think all of them are kind of really good. It's a nice range of expressions as well, which is great to see. Okay, so I've got her in a simple pose here, switched over hands to a finger spread one, the eyes closed, head as well, which is cool. And then we've got the spirit form or astral form of her attached to guts there. That is so cool. And you know what? So simple, just a magnet on the back there. So if I pop that up, there we go. So it's cool. It even has the symbol on there, so nice little touch, which they didn't even have to do. But you know, it's something a little bit fun, especially for fans. Now you can balance her there without it, depending on how you have a cape, but it definitely is a little bit easier if you do attach the magnet on. It just keeps it a little bit more secure there. Like you can jiggle them around without any issues of her falling off. So that is, I know, it's a really cool way of doing it. It'd be nice to see more magnets being used in the Tamashii line for capes or attaching accessories. Make it nice and easy to pop things on and off. So for a little bit of a comparison, I've got here with the two figures from Frieren, and yeah, they work really well together, right? I mean, yeah, I don't know, I feel like they could just come straight from the same series. So it's quite nice to build up, you know, different characters, fantasy ones. Need to try and think of some really cool photos to do in the future. But one thing I do want to point out, which was cool with the Frieren figures, was that they came with these magic spell circles for their attacks, which was really cool. I feel like that could have been a nice simple accessory to also add in with was it Shieruke here as well. You know, something else to, you know, highlight her magic powers. I mean, we do get the golem, which is cool, and obviously the astral version of her, but you know, I can't remember what type of spell designs they have actually in the series. Maybe there weren't really any. But I feel like there could have been something which would have been quite cool to add in with the figure. But however, if you do have the Frieren figures, you can obviously mix and match the accessories without too much trouble there, since it's just a acrylic piece of plastic on a stand, so you can move it around and switch it wherever you want. Jumping over to the pros and cons, I do have the full Berserk line so far. Yeah, what do you think about the line so far? I feel like we started off strong but also kind of weak. I absolutely love Griffith and the horse. I know a lot of people not too keen on the horse, they could have done without it, but I feel like those together just look amazing. The aesthetic design for original Guts, I love it, so cool. Just not the most fun figure to play with, but they learned from that mistake. They upgraded in the Berserk armor, changed those wrist pegs. He's so much more playable and more fun to use, and the fact that we get accessories for him now with Shieerke here just elevates it to an even better figure. So I think they've definitely kept improving, and I feel like even Shieerke here is a strong addition to the line. It adds character and more essence from the series. You know, we get the Louis Golem, most of your actual form. And then for the figure itself, the hat can attach easily, it looks really cool, the sculpting is nice. She has really good articulation for a tiny figure, especially a magic one, because they're normally pretty limited. I mean, if you have the Freedom figures, you know, these were pretty limited in terms of articulation, but Shieerke here definitely elevates it to another level. She could have done with better ankles though. I feel like that does make her a little bit harder to pose, especially with those tiny feet. So some pivot on the ankle definitely would have made her a bit easier to pose. But besides that, the articulation is solid, and then again the satchel is nice, and then the only other real con I have is that cape. Now it's not that it's bad, but compared to the other ones with the other figures, definitely nowhere near as good. I feel like they could have gone with material like this one here, like the Guts one, which is more of a single layer, and just have it coloured purple instead. The material might not have matched up quite as well, but at least we wouldn't have got the ugly folds underneath, which just doesn't look that good, unfortunately. Besides that, it doesn't look too bad, especially looking from the top down. It's just, I don't know, it's just a bit, I'm not a huge cloth fan anyway on figures, so maybe it's that coming through. So if you are a fan of cloth goods, how do you feel about the one on Shieerke here, this cape? But yeah, I feel like they could have cleared up the underside. It definitely would have made the figure look a lot more impressive than she already is. But yeah, that's it, definitely love it. Coming up is Zod, who has gone on pre-order in Japan on Premium Bandai. They even add in a little bit promo material in the box with her to remind people to go get that pre-order in. I assume in the USA it will just be a normal retail or a online retailer release, so keep an eye out for pre-orders if you haven't seen one already. But yeah, let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the whole Berserk line so far, and who do you want to see next? Obviously we've got, oh man, what's his name? The other companion, the little wee dude. He's coming, he looks pretty cool. I'm looking forward to hopefully a reveal for their female companion, Casca, I think. Oh, I'm so bad with names. Let me know in the comments below. I'm so bad with names. Let me know below what her name is, but she would be cool. I'd like to see the pre-time skip version of Guts as well, and maybe with her too, and I think all of those together would look really cool. But yeah, anyway, again, that's it. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, cheers!